All right, everybody, welcome in to another video. If you are watching this, then you're probably trying to find, that good balance of a nice, good place to live that's also affordable. I have videos going over all kinds of different things in our area, but in this video, we're going to be covering the affordability side of things. Affordability is really relative to where you're coming from. If you're coming from a rural town in Alabama or Arkansas or something like that, then this place very well may be more expensive. However, if you're coming from somewhere in the Northeast or somewhere out west, California, maybe even Florida, then, chances are things are going to be cheaper here. Now, as you saw, nationally, our area right now ranks 14% lower than the national average for cost of living. So, it's going to be lower than most places by 14%. But today, the reason I wanted to do this video is because it's really hard to get real information just, going through Google. There's certainly a lot of great information there, but a lot of things you kind of have to call or you kind of have to, talk to locals to really figure out. So in this video, I've made phone calls. I've even checked in with probably 15 or 20 of my past clients who have moved here from other states. I've scoured Google and I've done everything I can to try to give you guys the best information possible so that you can get a good idea of kind of what things are going to cost you, as far as just living here. So we're going to kind of prioritize everything, in order from, like housing all the way down through like utilities and stuff like that. And in the end, I'm going to actually share with you kind of what the feedback has been from my clients that have moved here from other places. So with that being said, let's get started. And the first thing that I want to talk to you about is going to be housing, right? Housing is typically going to be, the most expensive expense that people have. So on one hand, you have rent. Okay, on rent right now, as we saw in Google, I think it said that the average is a little like $17.50 or so. That seems right. Okay, and I say seems because I have gone through and looked at a bunch of rental prices, but it's really hard to get like an average or even a median price on rentals. They really vary all over the place. If you wanted to get something like an apartment style, one bedroom, one bath, then you can get well under $17.50 a month. But also if you have a family and you're looking for, a 3+ bedroom house in like a decent little neighborhood, then you're definitely going to be north of the $17.50. So again, it varies all over, but I would say 17 is a good average as far as rentals go right now in our area. And also, the average sales price was $390 and some change. If you guys have been following me, I just did a market analysis where I covered our whole area, pulled a whole bunch of numbers, and 390 was the exact number that I came up with. So again, Google was spot on with the housing prices. Again, it depends on what you're looking for. I've closed on brand new homes this year that have been, in the low threes, and obviously, the prices go all the way up, depending on what all you're looking for. So that's pretty much, the housing prices. This is one area where a lot of people are going to save money, especially if you're moving from somewhere like California, or, some areas in the Northeast, are very expensive. Certainly Florida, can be very expensive. So that's a big cost you can cut there if you're coming from a place that has higher home prices. Now, this is one of the biggest ones, property taxes. Okay, this is like typically this is where people are saving a lot of money moving to our area. So the way that property taxes work here, it's really confusing. I'm going to try to break this down for you so you can kind of get a better understanding of it. But essentially what they're going to do is they're going to take 25% of the appraised value, and then they're going to charge you, it's either $1, and it's like, I'm going to put the numbers up here. It's like $1.55 per $100 of assessed value. That's going to be for your county. And then for the city, you're looking at $2 and basically 16 cents per $100 of assessed value. So the way that works is if you're zoned for city, then you're going to pay both of those taxes. If you're zoned for the county, then you're just going to pay the county taxes. Okay. So the way that this would basically work let's say that you have a $400,000 home, right? You're going to take 400,000 and you're going to times that by 25% because you're only paying taxes on the 25% of the appraised value. So that 25% comes out to be $100,000, right? So then if you're in the county, you're going to take that $100,000 and you're going to times it by, it's like $1.55, right? So then that's going to come up to be $1,554, I think is what it actually comes out to be. Now, this is Knox County numbers, and I'll tell you why I'm telling you that in a second. But anyways, so that's going to be, that is what your taxes would be if you're in Knox County. Now, if you're in the city, you're also going to take that $100,000 and you're going to times it by $2 and it's like 16 cents, and then you're going to add the two. So, obviously your taxes are going to more than double if you're in the city. Now, it does vary a little bit county to county. Like Oak Ridge has a different, they have a different tax number. Blount County's is like $1.59, so it's like 4 cents more. So it does vary a little bit from county to county, but in general, it's not that much different. So again, if you're looking at a $400,000 home here, and you're in the county, you're probably going to be somewhere around $1,500-$1,600 a year for your taxes. Now, you may be wondering, well, what's the benefit to being in the city? Why are the taxes so much more? So I would say the biggest benefit is in most cases, the city schools, if you look at like niche.com, will rank a little bit higher, and in some cases a lot higher. So, if you're, someone whose schools are really important to you, that's something that I would look into. Other than that, you do get a few services. So like trash pickup will be included. Also, the fire department will be included. But I will say, if those two things are the only things you're worried, like if you're not really worried about schools, trash pickup, we live in the county now, and we pay like, it's somewhere between like $25 and $30 a month. So definitely not nearly as expensive as the taxes. And then the fire department, we pay like, it's somewhere around $160 or $200 a year for the fire department. So again, you're not saving any money living in the city. That's pretty much how the taxes work. And again, this is, one of the biggest things that people come to me and say, hey, we are saving so much money. Okay. And so the next thing that we're going to talk about is going to be homeowners insurance. Okay. And this is one of the topics this was a really hard one for me to figure out. I actually ended up having to call our personal insurance guy and basically talk to him about it because there's just so many variables. And if you try to find like a Tennessee homeowners, it's all over the place because depending on where you are, there's some areas that are higher risk than others. In general, East Tennessee, he told me, this is coming from my insurance guy, that in general, East Tennessee is a pretty low insurance area because we don't have a whole lot of high risk stuff. The biggest question that I get asked about all the time is flood insurance. People are always worried about flooding here because we get so much rain and we have so many lakes and rivers and stuff. But the thing about it is we've been dealing with these things for so long. I mean, that's the whole reason, well, not the whole reason, but aside from electricity, that's a big reason why TVA actually dammed up, several sections of the Tennessee River to help prevent flooding. So, although like certainly there is still some flooding that happens, it's not like a major issue. And in fact, like out of all the homes that I've shown this year, I don't know, maybe a handful of them, and we're talking hundreds of houses, maybe a handful of them were required to carry flood insurance. Actually, even a lot of the lake homes, most of the lake homes do not require flood insurance. So if that's something that you're worried about, I would, rest easy. You're probably not going to have to deal with that. So with that being said, I just got a quote from him for a house that we're about to buy. So we're actually, my wife and I are under contract on a new construction home. Our policy is going to be somewhere between 400 and 500,000. He hasn't figured exactly what it's going to be, but he told me we were going to be somewhere in the ballpark of $1,000 a year for the insurance. So, obviously there's different variables there. the closer you are to a fire department, the newer your home is, that's a little less. But I can tell you this, the home that we currently have is, it's a 1,500 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath rancher that's from 93. And our insurance is about the same. I mean, we pay a little less than $100 a month on it. So in general, most of the time it seems like, insurance is pretty affordable here, but I'd be interested to hear what you guys say. I know people that are moving from like Florida where you've got a lot of hurricanes, or if you're like that Tornado Alley area, or maybe even out west with the fires. I know, I've seen some pretty outrageous insurance quotes, in those areas, but I'd be interested to know what your insurance is in some of the other areas. So, let me know what you think, if that's high or that's low, because again, it was really hard to figure out like, hey, what's the national average and this and that. And I did find some numbers, but they varied so much that it was like, I didn't really feel super confident in them. Okay. And so moving on, the next thing that we want to talk about is the sales tax here in East Tennessee. So, Tennessee in general has a 7% sales tax. Okay. Now, what gets you is that we have a local tax, and the local tax does vary from place to place. For instance, in Knox County, it is 2.25%, and in Blount County, it's 2.75%. So you're looking at somewhere between 9.25 and 9.75% for your sales tax, which I know that is, a little bit higher than some places. But I will say I've never had a client really that felt like it changed things a whole lot. And we're going to talk more about that at the end of the video when we go into kind of like, some feedback that I've gotten from clients. So with that, we're going to move on to the next topic, and that's going to be childcare. As you guys know, I just had a baby. Well, actually, I say just, she actually just turned a year old. So, time flies, as all the parents out there know. And yes, that's the thing you hear all the time. But anyways, so since we have, a little girl, we have looked into childcare, and I've gotten some numbers through, several different facilities. So with childcare here in East Tennessee, you're looking anywhere from $200. What we found was anywhere from like $200 to $400 a month. I'm sorry, not a month, a week. So you're looking somewhere in that range. It's outrageous how much childcare is. I mean, I get it. It's, it's a lot of responsibility to take care of someone's kids, and you have overhead and this and that, but holy cow, if you've got a couple kids in daycare, hats off to you guys. That's expensive. But anyways, that's about what you can expect. Now, those prices can certainly get higher. If you're looking at some of the bougie places, which we certainly didn't, we know some of those like really nice places were just absolutely going to be out of our price range. So we didn't even get quotes from there. But looking around, like I said, that's kind of about what you can expect for childcare. Okay. And so this is another one that actually saves people quite a bit of money, or at least that's what I hear from a lot of folks that are moving here from other places. And we're going to talk about like vehicle costs. So like, first of all, gas. Right now, gas is around $2.60 a gallon. Typically, our gas prices here are lower than like whatever the national averages are. I know, in some places they get up as high as, $5 a gallon, and in some places they're as low as $2. So here you're about $2.60 today as I make this video. And then another big one too is vehicle registration. Okay. I was talking to a client from California the other day, and he was excited to buy a truck. And he told me that he didn't, he wanted to get a truck in California, but he was like, it's so expensive to have one. And he was telling me it's like $500 to register one. And then gas is really expensive, and parking and all that. So the first thing he did when he bought his new house was bought a truck. But anyways, vehicle registration here it doesn't matter what you have. I drive a truck myself. My wife has, just a little car, and we both pay, I believe it's $25 or maybe it's $28 for registration. Now that's for us here in Blount County. If you're in Knoxville, they do have a wheels tax, and I believe it's $35 there if you include that wheels tax, and that goes for a year. Now, if you're like me, you're a big time outdoorsman, and maybe you want to have a boat, pleasure boat or fishing. Boat registration, not very much either. I actually just had to register a kayak. If you put a motor on anything in Tennessee, or I think it may even be like nationwide. You have to register it. So I've got a little motor on mine. Anyways, it was like $50. It was a little under $50 for like to get all the paperwork done, to get it registered, and then that also included a tag that was for 2 years. Now, once you have it registered, I think it's let's see here. It is $28 for a 2-year tag. And now you can pay a little bit less and get a 1-year tag, and you can pay a little bit more and get a 3-year tag. But as far as the registration goes, pretty affordable, I think, especially considering some of the numbers I've heard from other people's. Again, drop in the comments, tell me, what you guys are paying for registration. Maybe that'll help everyone else kind of understand, sort of what prices are, nationally. But as far as, vehicles go, they're pretty much the same price anywhere you go. You do have to take into account the higher sales tax. That can make the price a little bit more. But if you do the math, I mean, it's not like you're paying thousands of dollars more, So the next thing I want to talk about is going to be utility costs. Okay, so if you look here, I found this article that shows that on average, folks in our area, in the Knoxville area, are paying about $171 per month. This is for your electricity bill. Now, I will say that this number is going to vary a lot throughout the year because where we have 4 seasons here in East Tennessee, you're going to have, some months in the spring and the fall where, you don't run, your heat and air a whole lot. The weather's nice, you don't need it. And then you're going to have some, times of the year where, it's hotter than heck or it's super cold and man, that thing's going to be cranking. And so your bill's going to be higher. So for us personally, again, we live in an older rancher. I say older, it was built in 1993, but it's certainly not energy efficient. I mean, honestly, our windows are kind of crap. I mean, it's, seems well insulated, but still, codes weren't the same in 93 as they are now. And so with our home not being super energy efficient, we're kind of varying anywhere from like $120 a month to like $300 a month for our electricity bill. Now, as far as your gas and water goes, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull up KUB's website here. And now something to keep in mind is you're not always going to have KUB. There's so many different utility companies around here, and just so you know, in East Tennessee, this isn't one of those places where you shop utility companies. It is what it is. You have who you have depending on your area. I've had KUB before. I've had Fort Loudon Electric, and right now I think we have Maryville City, or maybe even Alcoa. It's one of the two. But anyways, so I'm going to pull KUB's website up just because they have a lot of numbers here that are, that'll be easier for you to use. And again, even if you don't have KUB, this is, they're all probably going to be pretty similar in price. So when I pull this up here, you can see that you're looking at about 11 cents per kilowatt on as far as your electricity goes. So if you want to pull up, your current power bill, see how many kilowatts you're using, that'd give you an idea on there. You can see the gas rates here, which obviously the gas, fluctuates throughout the year. So you can see what the cost is here. You can compare that to what you're looking at, and then you can see the prices for water and wastewater here. Now, this is one that I do want to talk to you about because a lot of people don't understand this, and I had no idea that wastewater was even a thing until I moved to Knoxville. I lived in Knoxville for 1 year, and so paying wastewater, man, it pretty much doubled my water bill. So I was used to paying from the county. I was used to paying like $20 to $40 a month for my water bill, and it jumped up to like $80 to $100 with that wastewater. And you can see the prices here and kind of figure it out, but you're not always going to have wastewater. Like where we live now in Blount County, we don't have wastewater. I think some areas in Knox County maybe don't have wastewater either. But again, this is one of those things where we just have to look at where you land, and if we need to check on utility bills, we can. But you're probably looking anywhere from $20 to $120 a month on your water bill. And again, you can look at these numbers and do the calculations yourself there. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about, and this is something that, look, hear me when I say this, talk to your financial people. Don't take what I'm saying and just run with it and think you're going to save a lot of money. Because I don't know how this works, everywhere you go. I just know that that I have a client of mine who's become a good friend. He actually like wrote down a list of like all the ways he was saving money from moving here. And he moved here from somewhere in the Northeast. I don't even remember now. I want to say Massachusetts or Taxachusetts, as they say. But he's saving like $10,000 a year from moving here. He actually bought a really nice house here. So I think he even kind of upgraded his lifestyle. But anyways, what he was telling me is through like your different investment funds, if you're moving here from somewhere that has a state income tax, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but I assume you guys know this. Maybe that's not a safe assumption, but in East Tennessee, we do not have a state income tax. So what he did was he got his address and everything settled here before he started pulling through some of his investment funds, 401k and things like that. Again, I don't know all of the details, so talk to your financial people. But what he was able to do was completely eliminate having to pay a state income tax on the money he was, getting from his investment fund. So whenever he moved here to retire, it's crazy how much money he's saving because we don't have a state income tax. So if you're someone that's looking to retire here and you're going to be, drawing money from different places, maybe, like I said, talk with your financial people, your tax people, and just kind of see what the smartest strategy is, because that could save you a lot of money like it did my client. So with that, these are kind of what I feel like are the major things that you're going to have to pay for when you live here. I mean, obviously, if you're opening a business, there's lots of different things you can take on that are going to, that are going to be huge expenses. But for your average folks, I feel like this is kind of what you're looking for. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, I called probably 15 or 20 of my past clients that have moved here from different areas. And at this point, I have people that have moved here from just about every state. And I wanted to kind of get with them and just see like, hey, what do you feel like as far as cost of living goes? And this is what, in general, I'm not going to go through and tell you what every single person said, because that would make this video way too long, but I will kind of give you like a summary. And basically what everyone said, the big things that you hear are property taxes, right? Property taxes are cheaper. Vehicles are cheaper. The no state income tax people love, we work really hard for our money. So it's nice if you don't have to give it all back to the government or give it to the government. The other thing that was kind of surprising to me too, was that a lot of people said things like utilities and groceries were about the same. Like I haven't really heard a lot of people there. I mean, there's been some outliers, some people will have really high utilities. Some people live somewhere where, groceries are really expensive. But in general, most people kind of feel like those items, even, eating out and stuff, it is not a whole lot different. Especially because where our sales tax is a little bit higher. I did have one client that moved here from Colorado, and she told me, she was like, hey, yeah, groceries are a little cheaper, but when you factor in the higher sales tax, it kind of just equals out. So it's like, it's not a whole lot different. So again, the biggest things to think about is, property taxes, home prices if you live somewhere where they're high, vehicle registration, no state income tax, you'll just have to do the numbers for yourself and figure out if these numbers make sense for you and your family, right? Again, it's always finding that balance of, affordability with, luxury, so all I can say is good luck to you. I hope that this video has been helpful. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. I'd love to help you guys out however I can. But with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Catch you on the next video. Thank you.